So welcome back to our Pieces of Our Lives exhibit tour here at the Clarke Museum. Today we're going to be looking at a couple of these cases when you first walk in and some of these posters that are on the walls. So let's start right here. All right, try to get a good view of everything. So as I might have mentioned in a previous video, all the items that are on display here are from individuals who they themselves were interned or their family members who were interned. So these are 4 certificates to identify individuals that were sent to camp. So it's got their fingerprint, it's got their signature, it's got information on what they look like, their birth date, where they were born at, how long they've been living in the US. And so these are the grandparents of the person who's loaning these items. Her name's Vicky Ozaki. So you'll notice that all 4 of these people were born in Japan, and they're Japanese nationals, but their kids were all born in the US. So they had to carry these cards around and present them to officials if they asked to see them. Take a closer look. And it's interesting too to see like how long they lived in the U.S. for up until the time that this was issued. So he was living in the U.S. for 34 years up until 1942. Here's another card. So this is also from Vicky. It's a Citizens Indefinite Leave card. And it's from Heart Mountain Relocation Centers, relocation area is what they were called. And that's near Salt Lake. Nope, that's not near Salt Lake. Sorry about that. But this card is certified for Salt Lake City. And it allowed Roy here, who the card is issued to leave the detention camp at Heart Mountain with his mom. So this card certified that he was not a threat to national security. And something interesting too that's kind of noted in here. On leaving the camps, people were issued a bus ticket and given $25. So you can imagine if you might have, carried everything you had with you into the camp, or everything you could carry with you to the camp, and then you're released, you have a bus ticket and $25, what are you going to do next? And that would be a pretty scary question to be asking yourself. So when people were in camp, life continued on. People went to school, people had hobbies, and some of the things that people did in camp were documented by the people who were in camp. So these are sketchbooks from Roy Ozaki, the one that we just saw in that last card, of the barracks. Got some plants growing out front. This is a really beautiful painting or kind of ink drawing. And this is Heart Mountain, the mountain that the relocation site was named after. And then here's some kids playing in camp. And do you see this? This is a Watchtower, very similar to the one that we saw when we first walked into this room. And also, just in case you're concerned, there's glass here. I'm not actually touching these drawings. But yeah, it's some pretty incredible work. And then here's the Akazake family with everyone named. So Rory, the one who drew these and had the card that we looked at last, let's see, it looks like left to right. So it looks like he's the last one right here. That's right. So like I mentioned, life went on. There were high schools that were built, different schools that were built. This is a yearbook. And this is from 1943. This is in Manzanar, in the Manzanar camp. And like I mentioned, this group is Taiko Swing Humboldt that put this together. They were able to have San Jose Taiko come by and do a kind of living history presentation performance on life in an internment camp that featured taiko drums, which are a traditional form of Japanese drum, and swing music and actors and all kinds of things. And it was a very fun performance. And it kind of walked you through some stories of kids who were, going to high school and going to dances and dating and all that while they were in camp. So here's a graduation photo also from Manzanar, along with a certificate for graduation. And if you've ever been to this area, Manzanar is located in the Owens Valley, which is pretty flat and pretty big, but it's surrounded by these beautiful mountains. It's very hot in the summer and very cold in the winter, and living in these barracks, it could get really, really frosty and not very pleasant at all. Not to mention that you were taken from your home community and had to go live somewhere else just because you were Japanese or appeared to be Japanese. Here's some more little photo books. People playing music. There were majorettes. All in the backdrop of Manzanar. And this is kind of interesting too. This is a golf course that someone built. But yeah, Jim Inoue, I'm sorry if I totally mispronounced that, helped build a golf course out in Manzanar, and he was, here's a picture of him in company playing some golf. And the story that's included with this is a group of boys that I called the San Pedro Boys were always hanging out near my barrack every day when I came home from school. They used to taunt me and call me names to try and make me cry. It upset me, but I never cried in front of them. I would go to my dad and complain about them. He said those boys are bored and needed something to do, so he helped them build the golf course. And this is from Naomi Meyer of McKinleyville. So her father is the one who helped build this golf course. And all these posters up here, these are really, really cool posters. These are all signs that were made in camp for camp events. They're in Japanese, you'll notice. This was a sumo tournament. Let's see, there were comedy going on, different musical performances. And they're really beautifully made. Got some nice colors. This one has some birds in it. And these are all reproduction posters, I believe. These were from the Gila River concentration camp in Arizona. So we'll get a little zoomed out look of that real quick. All right, we'll see you for the next segment of the tour.